Hey, every morning. Hey, hey, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Morning, David, Maurizio, Kimberly, my lovely wife, Arturo, Mary, Larry, Mary and Larry, Valerie, Mr. Sharp, Y Bar, Mark. Good morning, everybody. Donald. Hey. So, National Scout Jamboree over. Last day was yesterday, and they're coming home. I'll have to go pick him up later this afternoon. That's our youngest. So, think he had a lot of fun. The scoutmaster for the troop, they kind of bring scouts together and make a scoutmaster. He said that my son got to ride the long zip, which they have like a 3,000 foot long zip line that goes across like a lake or something like that. Crazy. We'll find out. He didn't brag about it on the family chat, but the scoutmaster said he got up early and went and did that one of the days. He was bragging about shooting black powder rifles and showing targets and stuff and discussing with his older brother. It was kind of funny. So anyway, yeah, best we can tell, he had a great time. He was pretty much off the cell phone, so I don't know. He took one of my giant battery packs with like 600 watt hours, so he could recharge his phone like 30 times, or him and his tent mate. So anyway, I'll probably have to charge that back up with solar power over the weekend. We'll see what happens. Anyway, glad to have everybody. Let's actually talk about what's happening or crapping in the market as it looked like yesterday. Now, from the title, bearish engulfing candle on SPY on the daily chart yesterday. We'll go look at that here in just a moment. First off, as always, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation here intended to be informational, educational, and fun. Hope you have fun watching. Otherwise, fun watching, fun trading. Otherwise, what's the point? Go do something else. It's not a recommendation to buy or sell any financial instrument. I may never get another thing right again. Although, sometimes I get them right. And sometimes is more often than not, usually. But anyway, if you desire that personal financial advice, you got to hire and consult a financial advisor. Remember, we can't trade for you. You got to watch out for you. And we're kind of wrapping up this week. It was a crazy week of all sorts of news. We had PCE this morning just coming in line. Not really, just kind of, So not really doing anything. We do have consumer sentiment, revised consumer sentiment coming out at 10. So that's hitting in about 42 minutes. If you're watching this later, maybe it's already out. And while we're live, you can click the subscribe button on the other side of the screen over there and join us on the chat. Morning Val, morning Goose, morning Andreas, morning everybody. So if you want to chat with me while I'm live, all you got to do is be a subscriber on the channel here. So other corner over there, go click it and we'll get you hooked up. Then if you want to get notified when I go live, like every morning, click the bell with the doodads and that'll work. And if you want to keep chatting with me all day, links in the description. You just gotta, it's like $5 to get the market roadmap. Be a client, and in that members page, I give you access to Discord. Come join me and we can chat about it. Now, it is kind of like drinking from a fire hose. Like, there is a ton of information going on. In fact, I threw out a trade yesterday at 11:50, almost 12 o'clock, that on the XSP going short. We can kind of pop this up and look. If you're unfamiliar with XSP, that's just the SPX divided by 10. I threw this sucker out there, and lo and behold, I made 130% in about 3 hours on this drop yesterday. And that's a bearish engulfing there on XSP, and it's the same situation on SPY. We have a giant bearish engulfing. Now, overnight, we're getting a little pop, a little reprieve, and I need to talk about some stuff. All right, we've got some things to talk about, particularly right here on ES. Let's jump down to, let's go with a 15-minute chart. Something happened yesterday that really concerns me. Now, I was warning about NQ yesterday morning, and we haven't got to the targets yet, but it did drop. Today I want to talk about this though, right here. this move right here, 1, 2, 3, this little bounce, and a 4, 5, that was a 5 down. All right, you may not believe Elliott wave works, whatever. That was a clean 5 down. This overnight is a sloppy corrective move back up. The resistance going higher is right here around 4,600, 4,605. Now we could see it rally on up to 46.17 and turn down. That's where this consolidation was. All right, it can overlap all this stuff. So we have a resistance zone right here. If we come up, hit that, and turn down, we're talking about a big measured bounce setup in the market. How big? Really big. We're talking about potential to go way on down lower. At this point, we're looking at 45 to 44.75 before the next support. And that will just be like an intermediary bounce point before we continue down. This is a impulsive move down. This is the indication that we could have a new trend setting up. The new trend can take us down for a while. Now, we may get down, retrace, down, and finish this move up, then get a retrace that lasts a couple weeks, makes a lower high, and then we get a bigger final down. So this is the initial indication that we could be in for a couple weeks, couple months of corrective action in the market. That's gonna suck, I know. Nobody wants to, we're all bullish, we're expecting more, but we gotta crush the hopes of everybody that's going long, and that means we may need a correction. This correction could last a little while, so please be careful. Keep tuning back. I mean, every morning I'm going to talk about it, where we're at. If we can break out above this consolidation here, we're going to go extend more highs, and it's going to be ridiculous. This was not a 6% correction. I mean, it wasn't a 3% correction either. It was, barely down on the day. So from the high to the low, it was about 1.7%. But when we look at where we closed the day before, it was like down 0.6% or something like that. So we're up just a little bit. And over the last 2 days, we're just flat. I mean, look at where we were over here. We're just flat. So this is an indication tide could be, the trend could be changing. Please be careful. That SPY candle on the daily, that is particularly interesting right there. All right, that daily candle being a big giant, and what do I mean by bearish engulfing? Well, look, we opened up higher, we went higher, and then we made a giant red candle that engulfs 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 days, almost 4 days. We haven't seen that kind of action in months. In fact, there was a bearish engulfing right there. Only engulfed 1 day. That one was a bearish engulfing. But we haven't seen this in a while. The last big one right there in February. So, and as you can see, most of the time when these show up, we get a little chop. Be prepared for it, all right? Be prepared for it. Yeah, pop and drop. That's highly cautious right now on that pattern. That can lead to continuation lower. Please be careful out there, everybody. This could just be a little retrace. I mean, it could be a buy the dip opportunity, but right now I'm highly cautious until we get over that resistance right there. All right. And so all the talking heads on TV saying higher highs day in, day out is just triggering effect for the big boys to sell. I mean, yeah, but yeah, how many days does it take to trigger that big boy selling? I think it's just one of those things, everybody, the sentiment gets tipped one way. I've been talking about it for a while. It just happens that we came up and bounced right off of that zone that I said we would. We poked just a little bit higher through and dropped. I mean, is it because of the charts overcooked, or is it because, I don't know. I think it's It's just the herd sentiment that we all follow. It takes a few people starting to buck the trend, and then a few more follow in, and a few more follow in, and next thing you know, we have a new trend going down, and then the same thing happens again. A few people start bucking the trend, and then we go up, and it just happens over and over. Now, NQ, I was warning about that yesterday morning. We broke down below. We're coming back up to test it. This can easily lead to continuation lower. Targets are still down here around 15,000 on NASDAQ. If you're unfamiliar with ES and NQ, those are the futures. ES1 exclamation point on TradingView, maybe /ES on your platform. I watch the futures. Why the futures? Because they give me overnight action. SPX here leaves me a bunch of gaps. It hadn't traded since the close yesterday, and it's not going to start trading again for 4 minutes or so. So I watch this ES and the NQ. That's how the talking heads know what's happening overnight. They look at the futures data. Russell here tried its darndest to break out yesterday and drop back down, making a lower low at this point, and that's looking like that could have been the last attempt to go higher for a little while. Already up to the 50%, turning back down. Could come up to the 618. One more attempt at breaking out, but I'm thinking we may go deeper, back down in this area around 1900. That would be kind of my expectations on Russell. That's small caps. That's IWM, ES, SPY, SPX, S&P 500 stuff, NQ, QQQ. If you're new here, unfamiliar. So, oil. This is CL. We were coming up into the zone. Zoom this up and right in the target zone. Retrace likely or go sideways, and then the final pop, and then we may get a deeper retrace. So short term, I'd be looking for profits. Longer term, we could break out and go substantially higher. But we're probably going to find a little resistance. You see where we topped all these highs right over here? Just happens to be right at the target. All right. I don't expect much more right there before we get another retrace. Maybe back to the daily roadmap line here. Move that thing over. We could come all the way back down here, back into the 77, 78 area, and turn up and break out and go substantially higher. But I can't project that yet until we get there. So keep coming back for more. Gold. Man, talk about a crazy chart. Yesterday, fake out. Like, look at this. That's a contract rollover. It looks like that crazy action on gold. Crazy action. This may be the breakout that takes us substantially higher. That was a big fake out, flush out. Got near the roadmap line, didn't quite get there. And then today, breaking out higher. Watch out, baby. That's I'm just going to sit on my hands. I'm out to 2025 on my GLD position, looking for much higher prices. Same with silver. My GLD. I'm mixing them together now. GLD, looking at that pop, potentially going to rally strongly. SLV, looking, got a little retrace and watching for this thing to turn and burn. So it's just a long-term trade. If you're trading on the short-term chart, and you're making decisions on a short-term chart, that's dangerous. All right, you got to know your time frame. I am long-term bullish. This is just a little speed bump on the path to the bigger move. Bitcoin, still just churning. Tried to push up yesterday, and when the market sucked down, it pulled Bitcoin down with it. That's just the nature of the risk-on, risk-off asset that is crypto. When the market gets bigger drawdowns, we tend to see crypto draw down too, particularly within the confines of a day. We're showing Bitcoin green. The market just opened, and this could set the bias up for the day. We'll see. Ultimately, Ethereum just churning in the range and probably going to push lower. It's a bearish setup so far. Dollar stuck rejecting off of that box overnight, and that may have been the last push up, and we may see it drop again. Now, you may be like, JT, when dollar drops, the market rallies. Well, sometimes, not all the time. Correlation is not causation, and we could have the market dropping and the dollar dropping. All right, stuff moving today. Rita Pharmaceutical. Be careful. This is like a biotech pharmaceutical thing, and I always say to be careful on these. Now, we have this thing popping 52%. And up out of the box, can it get continuation? Yeah, it can, but I don't trade pharmaceuticals because they do crazy stuff. They don't really follow my patterns. They do crazy stuff. Sam, Boston Beer, Sam Adams. That chart looks particularly not awesome. Breaking above the roadmap line, but that looks like a not awesome chart. Look, I mean, that was like exponential up, exponential right back down. I warn about this all the time. All the time. Be careful on this. It does not have to go anywhere. That's just a sideways consolidation after getting overexcited. It's kind of like a teenage boy getting super excited and then blowing it and coming right back down. Just keep it in mind. Now, Bud over on the other hand, despite having to lay off people, which is usually bullish actually for a chart, that's a bullish chart, and it may go higher. All right, FSLR, nice pop right into resistance, and watch for that to retrace if it can't get the continuation. I'd watch for that right there. Move this over. Yeah, it looks like a rejection. Can't get a third leg down on FSLR. Let's see what that would be. Need to move this down here. Move this over here. And 151 on the downside if we break back below the roadmap line. If for some reason it can get a daily close up here, salvage this thing. 247, 266 on the upside. MSGS, Madison Square Garden Sports. Could be a bullish move. The roadmap pattern would indicate 218, possibly 229 on the breakout higher. If this can close green, that's it. I mean, that's the conservative entry. ASML, still churning red, probably going to drop back to the roadmap line. SMCI continues to be ridiculous, even with the market pullback yesterday, still hanging out up here at the highs. And be careful. I mean, that's straight up, barely a pullback. We could go one little flash. You notice the pullbacks are getting smaller and smaller. Eventually, this thing's going to run out of gas and come all the way back down. Please watch it. It can keep being irrational for a long time, but FNGU consolidating right here. Be careful. Watch out for it to break down back to the roadmap line. 140, 130, 140, 150. That price area, probably where it's going to come back to if we see the bigger correction in the market. NVIDIA jumping right back up, kind of. Be careful. That can be the start of a bigger downtrend. That lower high. I mean, it's two lower highs now. GT, I don't see it. Let's zoom it up. Look, that's a lower high. Flash, lower high, flash, lower high. Be careful. Don't chase this sucker. NVIDIA looking toppy. I don't care what anybody else says in the mainstream media, how it's the best thing since, the internet bubble, whatever. Be careful. Now, looking like it's that's another lower high situation. Probably going to come back to the roadmap line. Roku potentially going to break out. That was a nice move out to the 1272, back to close to the roadmap line. Didn't quite get all the way there. Next move out. Move this over. Move this up. 82. T-Row. That looks like a gnarly pattern. It's like the Sam Adams stuff. Just sideways. I don't. We've got significant resistance built up right up here. These highs where it keeps rejecting. We're not above it yet. I'd watch for that to break out, but we may just chop some more. DXCM, and just that thing appears to be riding the roadmap line up. Haven't gotten a retrace back to the roadmap line a little bit. It's right back here. Out to the, yeah. Just making little bitty extensions. That's echo trade type situation, 141, 145 on the next extension before the next little retrace. It's like an echo trade pattern. Baidu, continuing the head and shoulders pattern. Has not broken down, has not broken out. Nothing for me to do there until that completes a pattern and indicates which way it's going. Tesla may be in for that deeper correction that I've been talking about. I don't care how many record-setting numbers they set, but this is looking like that 70% of the time we go lower, and you know, we could see ultimately we could see like a 30% retrace on this sucker, and we got the initial retrace on the day of 12%. We saw, you know, so far we've gotten to the lows, which was about 15%, but we could see it come on down here 25, even 30% retrace. All right, this thing's not done yet. Some of the corrections take up to 26 days. That could take us on out here into late August before this thing wraps up the correction off of that pop. All right. Know where to hold them and where to fold them. Meta, touching my target. At this point, I expect a retrace more than I expect anything else. Maybe come all the way back down where we were right before the earnings. There's no high probability anything left on Meta right now. For me. Somebody else may argue something different. ENPH, look at that, breaking below the lows on the path that I've been talking about for months and months and months. 150 was, if it can hold 150, that's a potential place we could bottom, but if we get the daily close below that level, watch out. It's, you know, this could, there's the potential for that to be the bottom. That's why I had that line over there, but it's looking like down in a blaze of glory. Yeah. All right, SEDG, probably heading back to the bottom of the box. Just sideways garbage. Sideways garbage. Not really a dumpster fire, but just like, how are you gonna make money on sideways? I don't like to trade that. That's not my thing. I like high probability movers. Sleep number, ouch. Right back to the roadmap line. That was off the lowest low. This is what I warn about always. Look at this. See that move up? Not really a pullback at all on that move. And then, ouch. Now, if it holds right in this zone, right in 26 area, and turns up, breaks back above the roadmap line, that can be a bullish pattern. But right now, watch out. Can go down 11, possibly even 4. ANET, right back to the roadmap line. Watch for this to set up another move. Highest high, down to the roadmap line. 186, and if we break down below the roadmap line, I don't know, but I would want the at least, I would guess, the aggressive entry probably back above 162, the more conservative entry back above 169. Looking for 186, 197 with a stop down here under this price action, probably around 141 for now. But right now, that's bearish looking. Be careful. Don't try to catch them falling knife. And SG, sweet green, probably coming back to the roadmap line. That's what that looks like. It's another one. One big move up, barely a pullback, and deep retrace. Same pattern over and over, all through the market. So there you go. There's some stuff to watch, stuff to keep an eye on. Bias for the day, extreme caution. Extreme caution for a bigger drawdown at this point. There's your resistance zone right up here on ES. Maybe like JT, where's that on SPX? Let's go pop over and take a look real quick. Zoom her up, Buttercup. We do have that same 5 waves down yesterday on SPX. That makes this extremely, extremely cautious. Like ES and S&P 500, both ways I measure the market are in agreement right now. If we find resistance in this area right here, turn down, break below this low of the opening, watch out. Watch out, watch out. If we can get above that, we're going extensions, 46.27, 46.54. But if we find resistance and start turning down, this can lead to a much bigger, longer, drawn out type correction. At this point right now, we're looking for 44.75, 44.50 on the cash index here. Be careful. No, like I said, and like I say all the time, it's not being wrong that costs you money. It's staying wrong that costs you money. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. The account you save may be your own. I'll be in Discord. I'm on Ask the Pros at noon if you know how to get there. If you don't, come join us in Discord and we'll get you there. Otherwise, have a great day, everybody. We'll, the EMP, electromagnetic pulse having problems. Anyway, y'all have a good day. Come talk to me in Discord and we'll see you later.